Okay. Okay. So just first of all, just tell me about you grew up here in Audubon. Talk about your life. Just when you were raised here on a farm in town. Well, talk about growing up in Audubon.
I grew up on a farm outside of Audubon, about 3 miles.
Your dad work you hard? Did you?
Yeah.
Dairy.
Farmed with
beef?
horses till 1937. Then everybody bought a tractor, but they had encephalitis disease in horses, and they fell asleep and never woke up.
Wow.
And this 1937 or 36 probably, half the horses in Iowa died, and they were farming with horses, and that was a big boom for the implement dealers because they started selling tractors then.
So why did the horses die?
Pardon?
What caused the death of all those horses?
A sleeping sickness, encephalitis they call it.
I never heard that.
They would fall asleep, and we had one horse that had it, and we put a sling under him and jacked him up on the tree and then held him up. And it was the horse that I was one of the list who was probably 10 or 12 years old then, but the horse that I would probably drive, I would, when I went to school, after school, I would come and hook them onto a 2-section harrow with 10 horses and then harrow the ground that my brother and my dad had plowed that day.
So did you ever get to drive the tractor?
Pardon?
Did your dad get a tractor then eventually?
Yeah, in 1937, he bought, that was a happy year for me because I like tractors. But yeah, I didn't like horses. I couldn't make this horse do what I wanted it to do. But, anyhow, one of them died, and I had to all summer long. About a month anyhow. I'd feed him water and food, But the vet said it wouldn't be good for him to lay down because then he would get pneumonia, and he couldn't, his lungs wouldn't breathe for him, and he would die. But then he died anyhow, so I don't know.
So that was, wow, what a thing to go through.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop once. So Willie, how old are you?
I'm 100 years old.
100. When's your birthday?
July 10th.
Wow. So did you have a big bash this year when you turned 100? Did a big party when you turned 100?
Yeah, we had a party, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We had a big party.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hitting the big 7-0 this week, so my family's,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, they're throwing a party.
Well, of course they are.
It's like, is it worth this much trouble? No. I don't know if I'll live that long, so they better celebrate well.
That's right.
I'm going to stop this a second and move it over here. Sorry about that.
It's all right. It's fascinating.
Well, it's just something I do to. I'm just going to turn this off. It's not crucial. The fact that you have all this stuff here.
I could bring in a stool that you can put wherever you want.
Or yeah, if you want to hold it, that's. If you want to just pretend you're, yeah, that works
You
too.
can put this wherever you want it.
It's just something I do. It's just nice to have this extra shots because I
Sure.
want this to look nice.
Oh, thank you.
I work by myself, so I always try to figure out ways to make things happen. I mean, I could have somebody help me, but all right. There we go. There we go. All right, sorry about that. So you graduated from high school, Audubon,
Yes.
and then you signed up for the service, or what happened then?
Well, I I had two older brothers, and they were both in the Army when I was turned 18 in 1943. And the draft board said they would defer me if I'd stay home and help my dad farm because my brothers were in the service. And I wanted to enlist. I was 16 when the war started. And, 16 is the age you want to do stuff, But and I didn't like the Japanese really very much, and I wanted to get in the Army. And
So did you defer? Or did you go in?
I worked 1 year with my dad, and that was a great year for me because I like farming, and I got to do all the farm work, And then we had a tractor then, and I plowed with the tractor and disc and all that stuff, and I really enjoyed it. But then everybody in my class, all the boys, I think, except maybe three, enlisted in the Army in 1943 or 44. So I helped my dad pick corn in 1943, and then I tried to enlist in the Air Corps, but my eyes weren't good enough; they wouldn't take me. And I thought, well, I'll go in the Marines then, and they wouldn't take me because I was colorblind, and you have to pass the Navy test to get in the Marines, and I couldn't pass the Navy test, so I went in the Army, I guess.
Wow.
But and I took just basic infantry, combat infantry training down in Camp Fannin, Texas, and then from there I went. It was pretty fast going overseas because I was go after. Well, by August I was on my way overseas. After that, yep, and went right directly into France, and it was in September then, and we joined Patton's Third Army. He just came into France and was fighting along, pushing the Germans back into Germany.
And what part of France? Where in France were you?
Pardon?
Whereabouts in France were you?
Northern France, mostly by Nancy.
So.
And I went into combat for 30 days, and then I got wounded, and that was my end of combat.
So you were in combat for 30 days?
Yeah.
Wow. What was that like? I mean...
Well, it was just one foxhole to another one. We never got any mail service or anything. Never got a decent meal. We got D rations, or those dried food rations, I call them.
Wow.
We call them K rations because they had dog bones in them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I mean, was that really difficult?
Well,
the food was. I mean, how did you survive?
Yeah, it was all dehydrated, and they give you 3 packages of it every morning, one for breakfast, supper, and dinner time. And I when I went into combat, I weighed 168 pounds, and when I was put back in the hospital after combat. I was in the hospital for a month, and then they weighed me. I weighed 128 pounds. I'd lost 40 pounds but I felt good. I mean, but I just lost a lot of weight, and most infantry guys did do that.
So you were in a foxhole that some people were shooting at you?
Yeah.
What was that like to hear
Well,
that?
it was just it wasn't a nice thing. I didn't like war, I guess.
But I mean, was it fearful? I mean, was it hard to operate? Was there fear, or was there just we got to do this job?
Well, you, yeah, the guy I was in combat with was your your guy you foxhole buddy they called him, you know, and he every day he said he knew he was going to get killed, and you know, and he kept saying that, you know, and I'd keep saying, well, don't talk about it, don't worry about getting killed, just, you know, do your job and try to not get killed. But he got killed the day I was wounded. Yep.
And so you talk about how badly were you wounded? Was it?
Well, I was spent 9 months in the hospitals after that, so it was pretty badly wounded, I guess.
Was it to your extremities, your head? Where was it to your
Well, I was actually wounded 4 times. One time I was laying in a hedgerow up by the Germans, and it was my own fault, and our artillery was firing at them, and I knew that the artillery they'd fire one long and then one in the middle and one short every 100 yards, you know, and I knew that. But I still laid in that hedgerow, and I knew that shell was going to land beside me, and it did.
So that was a German shell?
Yeah, but it was amazing. I saw a piece of shrapnel like a saw blade coming right toward my ankle, and about 2 feet from my ankle, it went into the ground, come up between my legs and hit a tree and cut it off just like a buzzsaw. And I got up and I said, "Thank you, Mom, and thank you, Lord." I knew my Mom was praying for me, and the Lord was helping me.
So now that you're on the other side of that,
Then, anyhow, I ran back. I had a foxhole on the other side of the hedgerow, and I ran back and jumped into the foxhole, and then I noticed I had a hole in my shoe, so I took my shoe off and I had a hole in my foot. I got wounded in my foot, but I didn't know it. But we were up a half a mile from our company, and there's 8 of us protecting that right side of our companies. They were taking over a little town, and they didn't want the Germans to. They sent us up there to. If the Germans come back, we were supposed to make a lot of noise, and they knew they were attacking, but they never attacked. But then, anyway, my foot didn't hurt, so I didn't tell anybody about it. I just went on with it, and I didn't tell anybody till I got wounded. A few weeks later, where I got wounded 3 times that day, and one of them was in my back, where I couldn't walk. I couldn't move my legs. My brain wouldn't move my legs, so they dragged me down to the first aid station, and took me to a hospital. took me a day to get to a hospital, but took me back to Nancy, France, to the hospital.
So did you get back to the combat, or you were done then?
Yeah, I was done with combat. Yep, and then I had spent about 2.5 months in France in a hospital, and then they finally sent me to England, and by then I could walk pretty good, but I couldn't walk there for about two months or 2.5 months. They just wheeled me around on a gurney. I was in a tent hospital. It was we didn't have a floor in it, but they had these little World War I gurneys around, and then I was sent back to England, and then a month later I was sent back to the States, where I spent 6 months in the hospitals back in the States.
So was
Two
your
term
military
hospitals.
service done then, or did you go back into service, or maybe not to Europe, but
Yeah, well,
were you able to continue your service, or were you, once you were out of the hospital, were you discharged from the army, or did you go back?
I had to go back to duty. Yeah, I went back to duty in July of 1945.
Okay.
They sent me back and made me an MP. I didn't have any training except, the Army trained me to kill people. That was all the training I had. And I knew guns, so they made me a corporal supply clerk, where I would issue guns to the MPs, and then in the afternoons I'd clean all these guns and issue them again the next
day. Were you a gun guy?
Yeah, the gun man, yeah.
Tell them where you were. You were at Fort Des Moines.
Yeah, well, I was an MP at Fort Des Moines, yeah.
So that was that you were just on guard duty there, or did you have like guard duty? Or
just guard duty in Fort Des Moines, yeah.
Well, kind of like nice being back in Iowa, isn't it? After you went to Europe,
Yeah,
France.
yeah. I never went back overseas, but.
So what was it like when that war ended, when World War II ended, and you were part of that? How do you feel about what you did and the sacrifice you made? How do you put that in perspective?
I never looked at it like that. I was just one of the 10 or 15 million people like me, being in the Army, I guess. I wanted to get out, but I did, I guess. But
Dad, talk about when you were in the hospital and there was a German POW next to you.
Oh, well, that was...
Talk to Roger.
Okay, so you had a German POW next to you in the hospital?
Yeah, they brought a guy in, and he was an old man. I mean, he was as old as my dad. And I asked him, what army was he in? He said, well, I was in the 7th Panzer Division. I said, you're a German? He said, yeah, I'm a German, yeah. He was trying to kill him that day, and I was trying to kill him, I guess, And I said, how do you feel about you and I trying to kill each other? He said, it's the stupidest thing in the world. I said, war is stupid, isn't it? You kill a lot of innocent people, and you ruin a lot of countries in fighting wars. There should be a better way of settling differences instead of trying to kill each other. And he thought the same way. And he said that he wasn't a Nazi, but the Gestapo came out to his farm and took him to the army. And that's why how he got in the army. He said he didn't want to go and fight. He wanted to farm. He had 4 kids and a wife on the farm, and that's what he wanted to be, a farmer. And I kind of agreed with him, but that's a stupid thing to do, to fight a war, and I just kind of hated the whole deal and didn't really like it after that. But
So did you ever stay in touch with him, or were you able to remain contact with him? I know he was older, but did you?
no, I never. We were in an evacuation hospital, and there was about 200 wounded veterans, and it was a tent hospital, and they were flying us back to different hospitals, and I was only there about a week or maybe a little over a week with this POW, because it was raining, and they were using this patch for a runway, and it was muddy, and they were those C-47 planes. It was small
like the
plane, like
DC-3
like
type
the
plane.
paratroopers use,
Yeah.
They had to fly us back, and they had to wait till it dried up enough, and I was on the first plane they took out, but because I was pretty well shot up, and so was he was, but he never went out with me, so I don't know whatever happened to him. But well, he was a prisoner of war, yeah. But
Yeah.
they took care of him. But
Doing good, Dad. You're
I don't
doing
know
good.
why. I'm not very good at this.
He still has shrapnel in his foot from
Really?
that, and he has bark in his back from the tree that exploded.
Wow.
It's 1/8 of an inch from his spinal cord.
And
So they,
also,
So was that tough being those injuries? Do you still have pain from that? Or?
Well, I'm a disabled veteran. I'm 50% disabled, so I'm up in the high rating of the disability, and they paid me compensation for that for over 80 years, I guess now. But,
So they talk about the greatest generation. They're talking about people like you. What does that mean to you when the people you served with, the greatest generation? What does that mean to you? Guys who came from the farm.
well, the whole whole country supported the war. I mean, just everybody really, supported the soldiers and the rest of the country too.
So that's
And
all I really had. Was there anything else I should ask, or?
I thought it was interesting that when he first went over there, they landed on Omaha Beach, but it was 2 weeks after
Oh,
D-Day.
it was about
Oh,
a month, 2 months.
Where did you land? What was the beach you landed on, Willie, when you first got there?
Did you land on Omaha Beach?
Omaha Beach, yeah.
What was that like when you landed?
Well, Omaha Beach was kind of flat, but then they had cliffs on it, and and those big ships couldn't get into. They had to anchor out because the ocean wasn't deep enough, and they had to take flat bottom boats in. You had to climb down a rope ladder and get in a flat bottom boat and go in even after.
so this was 2
Yeah.
weeks after D-Day. You were there. You said 2 weeks after D-Day.
No, it was more than that. It was in September.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 months after. So,
Okay.
yeah. But I didn't do too much fighting in along the coast of France, more by Germany, up around the Rhine River.
So you were fighting even, the war ended when? Didn't it end in, that D-Day is not the end? I mean, it still was going on even when you were there?
Yeah, the war, yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what would you want those of us who weren't there to know about World War II? Obviously, you don't think war is a way to settle things, but what would you want us to know about what it was like for you?
Well, it made me, I wanted to get in the Army, but it made me want to get out too, because I didn't like the whole deal. I didn't like war, I guess, but I asked for it, I guess. But
Dad,
I didn't.
You saw a lot of young men die, didn't you?
Yeah. Yep.
How did you process that?
Well, I don't know how. I knew it was happening. People, you shoot at each other, you're going to kill somebody. But it made me hate wars. And I still hate wars. I don't think that's the way to settle things.
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Anything else you want to say, Willie? Well, I got the camera rolling.
No, I said
Are you a hot
I
guy or a
said
cyclone?
I said too much already.
He's pretty humble.
He's super humble.
Well, that's the greatest generation.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I'm not. I think the Army is a good outfit, and
So,
But-
does it surprise you? There's still a lot of war going on in the world, that people are still shooting
yeah,
each other?
I can't believe that. Yeah, just people want to do something that they want to do, and just declare war on somebody. Gosh. Yep.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate. Thank you for your service, and really thank you for sharing your story. Really
Well,
appreciate
I'm not a very good storyteller.
it. I think you're excellent. Well, here's the thing. I wasn't there. You were.
Yeah.
So just look at it that way. You know?
Okay.
Being a good storyteller
Yeah.
is about you were there, and
Yeah,
a lot
but-
of other people weren't.
Yeah. Okay. But I don't like to talk about it. I mean, but you can't forget it. You can't. It's in your brain, I guess. I'll never forget that war. But
Well, thank you so much.
well, thank you
All right.
for coming. Yeah.
All right.